What if I told you that everything you see is a lie? What if the solid objects around you are mostly empty space? What if the colors you perceive don't actually exist in the universe, but are created entirely by your brain? What if time isn't flowing, space isn't static, and the fundamental nature of reality is so radically different from your everyday experience that when I show you the truth, you'll question everything you think you know about existence? Stay with me, because I'm about to take you on a journey, not through space, but through reality itself. I'm going to strip away the comfortable illusions your senses create and show you what the universe actually looks like when you see past the evolutionary adaptations, past the biological filters, past the limitations of human perception. And I promise you, what you're about to discover will be more strange, more beautiful, and more disturbing than anything you've imagined. Because the universe as it truly is bears almost no resemblance to the universe you experience every day. And once you see the truth, once you understand what's really there, you can never unsee it. You'll walk through the world knowing that everything around you is a carefully constructed simulation created by your brain to help you survive, but fundamentally misrepresenting the true nature of reality. My name is Albert Einstein, and I've spent my life looking past the illusions, past the comfortable lies that human perception tells, past the assumptions built into how we see and experience the world. Because the truth is this: your senses did not evolve to show you truth, they evolved to help you survive, to catch prey, to avoid predators, to navigate a world of medium-sized objects moving at medium speeds. And they're very good at that. But truth was never the priority. So your brain takes shortcuts, makes assumptions, constructs a simplified model of reality that's good enough for survival, but fundamentally inaccurate in almost every important way. And most people never question this model, never realize they're living in a simulation created by their own neural processing. But I questioned it. I looked deeper, and what I found was shocking. The universe, as it truly is, as physics reveals it to be, is nothing like what you perceive. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how different it is. Not with complex mathematics, not with equations only physicists understand, but with clear descriptions that anyone can grasp. I'm going to show you reality as it actually is, and it will change everything.
Let me start with the most basic thing, the solid objects around you. The chair you're sitting on, the screen you're reading from, the floor beneath your feet. They feel solid, dense, real, but they're not. They're almost entirely empty space. Let me explain. Everything is made of atoms, and atoms are mostly nothing. If you could expand an atom to the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be smaller than a marble sitting at the center of the field. And the electrons? Tiny specks somewhere up in the stands. Everything between? Empty, nothing, just space. So if atoms are mostly empty and you're made of atoms, then you're mostly empty too, mostly nothing. The feeling of solidity, the sensation when you touch something, that's not actual contact. That's electromagnetic forces between the electrons in your hand and the electrons in the object. They're repelling each other, creating a sensation you interpret as solid contact. But there's no touching, no physical connection, just forces acting across empty space. You've never actually touched anything in your life. Everything you've ever felt is just electromagnetic repulsion between clouds of electrons, creating the illusion of solidity, of matter, of substance. But it's illusion. The reality is mostly emptiness, mostly void, with tiny particles suspended in that void, held together by forces, creating patterns that your brain interprets as solid objects. But solid? No, almost entirely empty. And those particles themselves, those electrons and quarks that make up atoms, they're not little billiard balls, not solid things. They're waves, probability distributions, quantum fields. Before you observe them, before you measure them, they don't have definite positions or properties. They exist as superpositions, multiple states at once, all possibilities coexisting. And only when you look, when you measure, does the wave function collapse into one definite outcome. But before that, they're everywhere and nowhere. They're possibilities, not actualities. So the universe at the quantum level is not made of things, not made of objects with definite properties. It's made of probability waves, potential states, possibilities waiting to become actual through observation. This is quantum mechanics, and it reveals that at the fundamental level, reality is not what it appears to be. Not solid, not definite, not thing-like, but wave-like, probabilistic, strange beyond comprehension. The objects you see, the solid reality you experience, it's built on this foundation of quantum uncertainty, of probability, of waves that only become particles when observed. That's what everything is actually made of, not solid matter, but quantum fields, collapsing into definite states through the mysterious process of measurement, and we still don't understand how or why.
Now let me tell you about color, about the beautiful visual world you experience, the blue sky, the green grass, the red rose. These colors don't exist. Not in the universe, not in the objects themselves. Color is a creation of your brain. Here's what's actually there. Electromagnetic radiation, light waves of different frequencies. That's all. The rose reflects certain frequencies of light. Those frequencies enter your eye, stimulate receptors, send signals to your brain, and your brain creates the experience of red. But red doesn't exist in the universe. Only the frequency exists. The subjective experience of redness, that's created entirely by your neural processing. A quale, a subjective sensation that has no existence outside consciousness. Different animals see different colors. Some see more than we do. Some see fewer, because they have different receptors, different neural processing. But the light frequencies are the same. What changes is the subjective experience, the colors that consciousness creates. So when you look at a sunset and see orange and pink and purple, you're not seeing the universe as it is. You are seeing the universe as your brain interprets certain frequencies of light, creating a beautiful visual experience that corresponds to reality but doesn't match it. The frequencies are real. The colors are created. And this is true for everything you see. Every color, every shade, every hue. All of it created by your brain, none of it existing in the actual universe. Just frequencies, just waves, just electromagnetic radiation. The visual world you experience is a simulation. A beautiful one, but a simulation nonetheless. Let me tell you about space. About the three-dimensional void you think you're moving through. It's not empty, not nothing. Space itself is something, a substance, a fabric. And this fabric is curved, warped by every bit of mass and energy. Imagine a rubber sheet stretched tight. Now place a heavy ball on it. The ball creates a depression, a curve, a warping of the sheet. That's what mass does to space. The Earth is sitting in space, warping it, creating a curved depression around itself.
And you, standing on Earth's surface, you are not being held down by some mysterious force called gravity. You are rolling along the curve, following the geometry, like a marble circling the depression around that heavy ball. Gravity isn't a force pulling you, it's the shape of space itself, the curvature. And this is literally true, not metaphorical. Space has shape, has geometry, has curvature, and mass creates that curvature. This is what I showed with general relativity, that gravity is geometry, that what you experience as a downward pull is actually the Earth curving space around it, and you following that curve, taking the straightest possible path through curved space, which appears curved to someone watching from outside. But to you, it feels like gravity, like being pulled down. But that's interpretation. That's how your brain makes sense of the geometry. The reality is curvature. The experience is force, and they're not the same.
And space is not separate from time. They're woven together into a single four-dimensional fabric, space-time. You're familiar with 3 dimensions of space, length, width, height. But there's a 4th dimension, time. And it's not separate, not independent. It's part of the same structure. Space-time, a 4-dimensional fabric where 3 dimensions are spatial and 1 is temporal. And you're not moving through space and separately through time. You're moving through space-time along a path called your world line. And this movement, this trajectory through 4-dimensional space-time, that determines your experience of space and time. How fast you move through space affects how fast you move through time. They're connected, inseparable. Different observers, moving at different speeds, slice through space-time differently. What you call space, they might call a mix of space and time. What you call simultaneous, they might say happened at different times. Reality itself is relative, dependent on the observer. And there's no privileged perspective, no absolute truth about what's happening now across the universe, because now is relative, different for different observers. So space is not what you think, not a static void, but a dynamic fabric, curved by mass, woven with time, and different for different observers, depending on how they're moving. Let me tell you about time, about the dimension you're constantly experiencing, the flow you feel, the passage from past to future. It's not flowing. Time doesn't pass, not objectively. There's just the 4-dimensional structure of space-time, all moments existing together. You experience them sequentially because of how consciousness works, but the structure itself, static, complete, timeless, all of time laid out like a landscape, past, present, future, all equally real, all equally existing, none more real than others. The flow you experience, that's created by consciousness, by your brain processing moments sequentially, creating the illusion of passage, of movement from past to future. But it's illusion. The reality is the block universe, the complete 4-dimensional structure, with all events, all moments, all of time existing together. Not in time, because in time doesn't make sense when you're talking about the structure that includes all of time, just existing, part of the eternal structure. And you're not a 3-dimensional object existing only in the present. You're a 4-dimensional structure, a world line extending from birth to death, all of your life existing together, all moments equally real. The present moment you're experiencing is just one slice of that 4-dimensional structure, one point on your world line. But all points exist, all moments are real. All of you, from birth to death, is laid out in space-time, eternal, complete, unchanging.
Now let me tell you what you look like, what you actually are. From the perspective of space-time, you're a long worm-like structure, starting at your birth,
ending at your death and stretched across time between those 2 points. At one end, you as a baby. At the other end, you dying. And in between, every moment of your life, every age, every experience, every thought and feeling and action, all of it existing as a complete four-dimensional object. This is your world line. This is what you really are. Not a body in the present moment, but a complete structure in space-time. And when I look at you, when I really see you with physics eyes, I don't see a person in the present. I see your entire world line, your complete existence from birth to death, all of it real, all of it there, all of it you. This is beautiful in a strange way, because it means you're not temporary, not fleeting, not soon to be gone. You're permanent. Your world line exists in space-time forever as part of the eternal structure. You cannot be erased, cannot cease to exist, because once you've existed, you've always existed. Your world line is part of the structure, part of what is, and that's eternal. That's your true nature, not a fleeting body in time, but an eternal structure in space-time. Let me tell you about light, about what you see when you look at the stars. You think you're seeing the present, seeing what's happening now in the universe, but you're not. You're seeing the past. Light takes time to travel, so when you look at something, you're seeing it as it was when the light left it, not as it is now. The sun you see is 8 minutes old. The nearest star is 4 years old. Distant galaxies are billions of years old. You're looking at the past directly. Not a reconstruction, not a memory, but actual observation of events that happened long ago. The light from those events is still traveling, still carrying information, and when it reaches you, you see the past. So when you look at the night sky, you're not seeing a snapshot of the universe now, you're seeing a history. Every point of light is a different moment in time, some recent, some ancient, all of it the past, none of it the present, because there is no way to see the present. Light travels at a finite speed, and by the time it reaches you, the moment it left is already in the past. So everything you see is old, everything is history. You never see the present, not even of nearby objects. Even your own hand in front of your face, you're seeing it as it was nanoseconds ago. The time it took light to travel from your hand to your eyes. The delay is tiny, imperceptible, but real. You live in the past, always. Everything you see happened moments ago, and you can never catch up, can never see the true present, only the past, slightly delayed, presented by your brain as if it's now, but it's not. It's already gone, already history.
Let me tell you what this all means. What it means to understand that reality is nothing like what you perceive. It means living with the knowledge that you're surrounded by illusions. Beautiful illusions, useful illusions, but illusions nonetheless. The solid world is mostly empty. The colors don't exist outside your mind. Space is curved. Time doesn't flow. You're a four-dimensional structure, not a three-dimensional body. Everything you see is the past, and the present moment you're experiencing is a construction, a simulation, a model your brain creates to help you navigate reality, but not reality itself. This can be disturbing, disorienting. The ground beneath your feet feels less solid when you know it's mostly empty space. The colors seem less real when you know they are creations of consciousness. Time feels less stable when you know it doesn't flow. But there's also beauty here, wonder. The universe as it truly is more strange and more magnificent than anything your senses show you. the quantum realm of probability waves, the four-dimensional fabric of space-time, the eternal structure of the block universe, the curvature of geometry creating what we experience as gravity. This is real. This is what's actually there. And it's beautiful precisely because it's so strange, so unexpected, so radically different from everyday experience. And understanding this, really grasping what the universe looks like beneath the illusions, it changes you, changes how you see everything. You walk through the world knowing that what you're experiencing is a simulation, a useful one, a beautiful one, but not the truth. The truth is stranger, deeper, more mysterious, and more beautiful than the surface appearance. You're not a body moving through static space. You're a pattern of quantum fields, a localized concentration of energy, creating the appearance of solidity. You're a four-dimensional structure existing eternally in space-time. You're part of the curvature, part of the geometry, part of the fabric itself. And everything you experience, every color and sound and sensation, it's created by consciousness, by awareness, by the mysterious process that transforms physical patterns into subjective experience. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe. A temporary pattern, a localized concentration, a way the universe experiences itself. And when you die, when the pattern dissolves, you don't leave the universe. You return to it, become part of the larger pattern, the larger fabric, the larger whole. Because you were always part of it, just temporarily appearing as separate, as individual, as you. But beneath that appearance, always connected, always part of the whole, always the universe experiencing itself.
This is what the universe really looks like. Not the comfortable illusion of solid objects in static space moving through flowing time, but the reality of quantum fields in curved space-time, of probability waves collapsing into actuality, of four-dimensional structures existing eternally, of consciousness creating the experience of color and sound and sensation, of past and future being equally real, of now being relative, of everything being connected, being one, being the universe experiencing itself from countless perspectives. This is reality. This is what's actually there. And it's more beautiful, more mysterious, more profound than the illusion. So live knowing this, knowing that what you see is not what is, knowing that beneath the appearance is something stranger and more wonderful, knowing that you're not what you think you are, not a body in time, but a pattern in space-time, an eternal structure, a temporary localization of the universal whole. That's what you are. That's what the universe is, and that's what reality looks like when you strip away the illusions and see clearly. Strange, beautiful, eternal. And you're part of it, forever. Hit subscribe to keep seeing reality as it truly is.